Hi, John Force here again. Hope I'm not putting you to sleep. Just trying to give you a little background on me. Well, we got time to do it and have some fun and talk about NHRA drag racing, talk about my history, and try to entertain you at home through this hard time that we're going through. But I want to talk about something very dear to my heart, and that's my children. My daughter, Adria, on my first marriage with a high school sweetheart named Lana, and still one of my best friends to this day. I want to talk about my marriage to Lori and our three daughters, Ashley, Brittany, and Courtney. But there's a photograph here we're going to show you in my early days when I was like 25, 26 years old. Maybe I was 27, maybe I was 28. It was after Australia. Adria had just come out of high school and had gone into college, and I asked her, could you come work with me part-time? Well, what do I do, Dad? I said, well, I'm going to put a desk in the middle of a room, and I'm going to have you answer the phone and act like we're big-time racers, okay? Yeah, let me see if John Force, the president, and the driver is available. And that's how we started. And it was, in that time, it was so serious, so stressed. Here's how you say certain things, Adria. Here's how you talk to people. They got to believe that there's a big machine. And it was an empty room with a race car outside on the curb on a trailer. On a curb, on a trailer that I had to move every week. Oh, the street sweeper's here in Placentia, you got to move it. And we'd run out and move it. But that's how we started. That's how Adria, sure, when I moved to this big building, Adria was here with me. And still to this day, she's still here. Still helps run my operation. Knows where the money's buried. I don't know, I ain't that smart. If there is any left now. But what I'm saying is, she was a part of that. Then we went on the road and racing. I drove the 18-wheeler and she helped me sell t-shirts. And we went all over the country. And it was probably a time of my life to be able to be with my kid. It was so important. To watch her watch me grow as a race car driver, and to me to watch her grow into a woman, basically. And loved the racing, loved the fans, loved NHRA. She was part of it and still is to this day. Those are the good times. You know, when you look at all what you've been through and you think about how painful it is, you know, you're so running through life trying to figure out, there's a country western song that just came out, I heard. While you're running through life, trying to look at where you're going, you don't realize the moment. And that time with Adria was very important to me. And I'm in her office every day, even now, driving her nuts. Dad, don't come in here. You know this virus, you can't come in here. Got to keep in our distance. Sarah's 20 feet away from me. She won't come close at all. But in the middle of it, it was a time in my life to be with my daughter from my first marriage. Love her more now than I did then. And I never thought I could love a kid anymore, but I do. And I've got this beautiful granddaughter with Adria and Robert Height, and that is Autumn. And she's driving junior dragsters. So John Force's life, if the good Lord took me today, I got no complaints. He should have taken me a few times when I crashed along the road, you know what I'm saying, and ended up in hospitals, but he never did. I think he's got a plan for me. I just got to figure out what it was. Then my other daughters came along, Ashley, Brittany, Courtney. Didn't think they'd ever race. I can remember being with Larry Frazier, was tuning my Mountain Dew race car, and we were at Indy. And I remember I went down and got this little blow-up swimming pool from a Kmart. I filled it up with water from the trailer, a race car trailer, put it underneath where my three little girls could sit in that. And Lori was so happy, so proud of me, and they're out there in the middle of the day, and the first day went by qualifying, went by the second day, and I'll never forget, we're in the middle of the race, and it got really hot, so we put the girls in the swimming pool, right? This little pool. It didn't use much water, and here come Larry Frazier. He was madder than hell. He goes, we ran out of water in the race car trailer. Did you guys forget to fill it? And the crew all looked there trying to cover for me. Oh, well, John put it in the pool. Bob Fisher ratted me out for the kids. And Larry Frazier, a great guy, loved our kids. You know what I mean? Loved me, loved Lori, just a great individual. And in the middle of it, He goes, you took our water to run the race car. That's back when we put water in the engines, okay? That's way back. So in the middle of it, Indy didn't go so well that year. But we survived it. But down this road, all of a sudden my daughters, all of them, growing up at the racetrack, you know, getting to know who Don Perdome was, and Mongoose, and Beetle, and Shirley, and Garlis, getting to know everybody. It was just, I can never explain it. I'm trying to put it in a book. I'm trying to put it in a movie. It's there. Who knows how it'll be portrayed? Portrayed, is that a word? Yes. But in the middle of it, greatest time of my life. And then all of a sudden, Ashley goes, I went out to at the Pomona Fairgrounds where we run the Winter Nationals and the World Finals, and they're having a big car show. So I went out there looking for a car to buy for Ashley. And I found a 65 Mustang convertible. And I was so happy. I finally got enough money. We saved it, Lori and I. We're going to buy her a car. I get this car. I take it home to her, and we give it to her for her birthday. And she gets, Dad, don't think of me as wrong, and don't think of me that I'm not appreciative. But, you know, that's a Mustang, and I know it's a classic car, and I know you really wanted it for you. But she said, what I really want is a pickup truck. You gotta be kidding me, okay? That red Mustang convertible, and I had a guy lay me away at the auction when I bought it, and I had offered him because it said GT on the side of it, but that was all fake decals. It wasn't really a GT. In the middle of it, a bunch of racers got this guy and said, you know who that guy was, bought the car? And he goes, nope, that's John Force. You know what I mean? He's a racer. And it's like, okay. And they said, you knew he was stupid. You sold him this car, paid $1,000 more for it than it was worth. The guy came to my shop, offered to buy the car back. He got harassed so much, and he gave me back the $1,000. He said, the GT stickers I put on it. I didn't even know what a GT sticker was. I didn't care, but I took the $1,000. So anyway, the car's in my museum. We got her a pickup truck. She drove it for years. Are you ready for this? Lanny McGleasy, that works for me now, still drives that truck that Ashley got when she was 16. We sold it to him years later. I had just started racing for Ford, and we bought a Ford, and we gave it. And we ended up selling it 20 years later to Lanny, but he still got it to this day, and I love it. Going to put it in a museum someday, Lanny. I'm going to buy it from you. But along the road, Gary Ditcham, I'm telling him this story one night, and we're all drinking Miller Lite, and Gary goes, you don't know much about your daughter, do you? I said, no. He goes, well, let me tell you something. He said, I teach her in auto classes. She can weld up materials to build stuff. She can change brakes on a car. She can do all this stuff, and you don't even realize it. And I said, nope. Gary Ditcham went to Australia in 1974 with me, 75, and if he hadn't taken care of me, I didn't even have a license, an NHRA license. I'd still be over there swimming back. So thank you, Gary Ditcham. But he said to me, your daughter really loves racing. Don't you know that? And I go, oh, she's a girl. They don't like racing, and I'm busy racing myself. Well, you better talk to her. And I went to her, and she said, I'd really like to race. So I got her, not a junior dragster like my grandkids got, but I got her super car. We went down the road, she raced, she moved up to A Fuel. Over there you can get a picture of the toy store. Okay, that was her A Fuel car with Jerry Darian. Okay, I mean, the kid wanted to race. Are you kidding me? Yeah, Shirley is the only woman with a few others that ever made it. What makes you think? And then, you know, her mom, Lori, looked at me and, are you nuts? Okay, the kid wants to race, you're racing, she's gonna race. So it started. Truck and trailer, super comp, moved to A Fuel, and then I thought, okay, she's had enough. And then she said, out of the clear blue, I want to go funny car racing. Oh God, I gotta find a sponsor. And Castro picked her right up. So here we were, going down this road, she's starting to drive, Eric Bellin was teaching her. You know, he was with us. And Robert Height was working for me. Everybody pulled together to take the Force name with Ashley Force Hood now. But in the middle, and her husband Danny's my crew chief, if you didn't know that. But in the middle of it, you know, she'd won some races, but I never imagined a national event. The date that really stands out was Atlanta. And I don't even know the year.
2008.
2008 in Atlanta. A rookie girl against John Force, the champ. I had a lot of championships. By the way, when I won that 10 straight, even the New York Yankees never won 10 straight. I had to bring that up. Not bragging, just corny. There I was. I remember she had lane choice, and she put me over in the left lane. And there was a bump in the left lane, and everybody was smoking the tires. And I said, can we get through it? Coyle said, if we try to slow it down to get through it, she's outrunning us because she's faster right now. And I said, okay. So in the middle of this, we go up there, we go down the track, I smoke the tires, pedal it, try to chase her down, and she wins. I never even thought that my daughter won this event. My brain was so into, I'm the champ, I'm gonna win a championship, and Austin Coyle, what happened to that car? And I'll never forget Austin Coyle. He said, are you as stupid as I think? Oh, what are you talking about? You know, and he goes, are you as stupid as I think? Your daughter just won her first ever national event, and you're over here chewing my butt. What happened? Take a moment. And that's when I turned and I saw her. She was crying. I got all emotional. She didn't have time for Dad. She kicked my tail end. And that was pretty cool. We went on down the road, and Ashley is out there racing. Yep, we ended up years later, you know, side by side, runner up. She had won Indy twice, 2 years in a row. One of it might have been in an A fuel, one of it in a funny car, but she won it. And then she raced me at Charlotte in the 4 wide for Bruton Smith. And even her mother said, you just had to smoke her off, didn't you? And we got pictures that hang in my museum of our cars together that I had won, and she was runner up. And that was really a pretty cool thing.
Here we go. John Force, I'll tell you what, who would have thought it?
And Matt Hagan had problems right at the beginning. As you take a look at the photo finish, there it is, John over his daughter by about 3/4 of a car length.
But let me back up to something else. I was stupid when it comes to my kids. Their mother, Lori, raised them, took care of them. They all went to college, all got their degrees. Everything was good. And yet, here I am up in Detroit at a testing ground. And cars are lined up with NASCAR guys in them, drag race guys in them, everyone testing. And a guy walks back to me and says, hey, Ashley's up in the front and she's crying. And the first thing I thought is them NASCAR guys, they got dirty mouth, they've asked her out, they've done something. And I ran up there running my cars like, hey, what's wrong with you? And I went to Ashley and she's sitting in the car. I said, who said something to you, Ashley? I was ready to fight. Younger in those days. And she looked up at me and said, Dad, what's this other pedal on the floor? I said, it's a stick shift. And then I realized I taught her how to drive 330 miles an hour down a racetrack in 3 seconds. But I never taught her how to drive a street car that everybody knows how to drive with a stick shift. Anyway, we got her through it. I brought her home. I taught her. But that shows you how dumb I really am. I forgot the basics. I was so caught up with these fuel funny cars that I love, I forgot the basics. So here I am, hair's getting grayer, trying to keep these kids alive, trying to fulfill their dream and mine. I still want to win. In the middle of it, here are other drivers that come, Gary Densham, Tony Petragon, Eric Medlin, Robert Height, the list goes on and on. But what I'm saying is on the road, my focus became on the girls. let the men take care of themselves. These women need to be watched. Now here it is, Brittany, second to Ashley, and Courtney's the youngest, but all of a sudden Brittany graduates from college and she says, I'm going to be a school teacher. Now they've all driven super comps, Brittany and Courtney, they all drove A fuelers, they all did it all, but Brittany was not interested, okay? She said, we even took our TV show on A&E, Driving Force, and we all went to her school and filmed it. It's on a video. And in the middle of it, she said, I want a job and I want to teach kids. Okay, Brittany, that's what you want to do? Then Courtney's going to go around you. In another year, she's going to go to Fuel Funny Car. We're going to teach her. Brittany said, I don't care, Dad. This is what I want to do. These are two stories that overlap each other. The Courtney and Brittany show. In the middle of it, Courtney goes in, wants to get in the funny car. Now understand, Courtney, when she was little, was the one that really showed all the time. She was always drawing pictures like Jacob and Noah of the dragsters and the funny cars and pictures of them with her name on the top. You know, Courtney, she wanted to race Fuel Funny Cars. I knew that since she was little. When she was little, where other ones talked about doing other things, Courtney said, I'm driving funny cars. That's all Courtney ever talked about. So in the middle of it, we go down a road and she's gonna drive a Fuel Funny Car. And man, it was crazy. Driving, fighting the fight, fighting against the men, teaching her the trade, and we kind of just bypassed Brittany for a year. And Courtney's in the game. She's out there, she come along, she won races, she's done everything right. Even on the ESPN front cover, but it was really done in good taste, but it got her a lot of exposure. We got her a sponsor with Traxxas. It was a great company, still is, and they took her on a 5-year run. And somewhere we just forgot Brittany. So Brittany's like, I don't want to race, so I go down the road with Courtney. She's running low qualifier. Daniel Hood and another gentleman is running that car. Courtney was loving it. Got her dream, driving funny cars, doing what she did. It even, somewhere along the road, she met her husband, IndyCar driver, Graham Rahal. And they met at a race, at a drag race. And somehow that all went together. Ashley met Danny because they were all telling about this cute guy that worked down there with Brian Karate. And we drove down there after the races one night. And I said, bring him out here. And the kid come out here, he wouldn't say nothing. It was Daniel Hood. And the girls all in the back, how cute he is. And they're all giggling. And Ashley, the next thing you know, she's dating him. And years later, she married him. So good things in drag racing that happen. And the hair is getting grayer and grayer. Okay, and I've never put anything on it to this day. So in the middle of all this, Brittany is back home, going to school, and Courtney is out there winning. You know what I mean? And fighting the fight, learning the trade, meeting the drivers. Great interview. Courtney could just talk the socks off anybody. You know what I mean? She knew how to do an interview. When the phones come along, she was the king of social media. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And Mary Graham, IndyCar driver, and broke my heart. I loved her marrying him, but broke my heart that she gave up driving. But along that road, Courtney, my youngest, the one that always loved it, was set on fire, had crashed, had run races. I remember sitting in the Red Robin in Seattle and her crying over losing on a hole shot, and then crying when she won her first national event. It was just a moment. I can't explain the feeling that I had to have the children going that way. But here is Brittany. Okay, teaching school, getting started going into teaching school. She hadn't actually started yet, but she'd actually had classes. So in the middle of this, I said, Brittany, all my girls, you know, Ashley and they're all in the business, Adria and Courtney, why don't you come back and try? And she goes, no, Dad, I drove A fuel. I've done my thing. I said, just drive the dragster one time, the top fuel dragster. I built it and I didn't even have a driver. I built it for her. Money was flowing good. We were good. And we took her down to test her in West Palm Beach. And I'll never forget, I ran against her that night in a funny car a special little thing we did with the racetrack, father against daughter, me in the funny car, her in the dragster. We go out there, and she goes, I remember all the way going in the morning, just like Courtney. Oh, I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, but we can do this. And like, how can girls even be like this? I was terrorized when they put me in a car. And here they are, all excited about it. And there's so much more to the story. We'll try to get to it later. I can't name on all the things that happened. But in the middle of this, Brittany makes a run, goes out, whatever, 200-300 feet, shuts it off like she was told. We had to get her license, come back, did that 2 or 3 times. And then at the end of the second day in West Palm Beach, at testing in January, I think it was January, she made a run to the lights. 318 miles an hour. I think, I'm making this number up, but it was something like that back then. I don't even remember the year that it was. But what was amazing is when she got out of the car, the school teacher was gone. I said, well, what do you think? You ran over 300. You know, you ran this thing. I don't know if it was in the 4s or the 3s, but you did it. You got your license. And she goes, oh my God, this is what I want to do. I go, well, wait a minute. This girl's really crazy. She goes, I never knew. It was never like that in an 8-fueler. And they went 260. Dad, this is what I want to do. And that tiger came out of that girl. Different personality. Went back. No more school, we're going racing, found a sponsor, life was good, it was unbelievable. And I had sponsors that I'm lucky just kept picking up my kids. They wanted the Force name, but what they really wanted was a girl. They all wanted the girls. They looked at me like, who are you? They wanted the girls. You know what I'm saying? And that was a chunk of the history that I can never put the emotion to it or I'll start crying. But I saw Brittany, her first championship.
The 29th champion in the history of NHRA Mellow Yellow Top Fuel Racing is Brittany Force.
I think the emotion is starting to hit Brittany Force up here.
She was on her way to becoming a school teacher before teaching them all a lesson here in this year's countdown. It's Brittany Force.
Alan Johnson, standing there, Monster Energy. I dropped on my knees and I cried and I prayed. And I thought, this can't happen. Like, so many things went wrong during the year. Red light at Vegas. We dropped her down into points and then comes back and dominates, you know what I'm saying, and wins. It was unbelievable. I mean, even the guys, you know, Steve Torrance congratulated us. You know, he was the guy that was killing everybody, and he has ever since then. But the bottom line is everybody, it was a girl, it was Brittany, and just like with Ashley and Courtney, the racers really have a family that they care about us. And we walked out of there, the first Top Fuel Championship ever. And Ashley has done things, Courtney has done so many things. I don't think there'll ever be a media person like her that can talk and do what she does in an interview and carry a crowd. I mean, Courtney was, in my opinion, a whole lot better than me because she made sense. But Brittany, that was it. First championship. And in a dragster, I'd never done that. Now, a little play off of that, 3 months later, opening race at Pomona, Monster Energy, Brittany goes out, 200 feet, car smokes the tires, gets sideways, rolls end over end. I had just come from the hospital. I crashed the day before, okay, in qualifying, and there was my kid, upside down. She got out of that car, she couldn't talk. They put her in the ambulance, we all went to the hospital, her mother and me and the family, and She said, I'm going back, Dad. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to race cars. I've seen you crash 100 times. We all know the drill. Courtney was that way. Ashley was that way. Unbelievable. I got a whole lot more on the girls, especially Courtney. Later, some things I haven't got to. I'm out of time here. But I'll be back. So God bless you. And have a good day and stay healthy.